Hey everyone, it's Christine. Welcome to Love, Light, and a Touch of Badass, episode 6. Thought I'd talk a little bit about some intuition today. I know it's been a hot minute since I've done a recording. I hope everyone out there is having a fabulous summer as it starts to wind down a little bit since we're getting into mid-August. And I hope we're all having a good time. The intuition thing. I know I've been talking about doing a podcast on this, so I'm kind of excited to do it today. And I just want to talk about our gut intuition, or as I love to call it, my built-in bullshit detector. That little thing that does this. Love it, okay? So the funny thing is about this intuition stuff, it's kind of tricky. It can come in positive, and it can also come in like a ton of bricks. I really want to start off with the positive and trying to help you feel fun about it so that you can trust it. Because when you trust with the good stuff, you'll know how to manage the one that comes in that feels a little bit on the icky side. Okay. So for me, I know a lot of people. I got a lot of really good acquaintances and some pretty good friends and some really, really tight ones. I do keep a very good boundary on the time that I spend with people because I find that my friendships don't get exhausted that way. But that's just how I deal with it. Everyone's different. For me, a lot of times I can go sometimes months without talking to someone, not out of being rude, just out of life getting busy. And there's a lot of people out there that can't handle that because you didn't check in with me, you didn't say anything. It's more, with me, it's more about life that's busy, and we connect when it's time to connect. So it's just about, for me, embracing those friendships, looking forward to talking with them again, and it's just feels really good when you check in, just because it's like, hey, you know what, I miss you. Hope you're doing okay. Um, Sometimes we plan on getting together. Other times it's just like it's too busy at the moment. But we always remember each other, and I think that's what good, solid base is about friendships. So with those types of things, it can be something that I haven't talked to someone in months, even years, and they'll get on my mind. And when it gets on my mind, it's really hard to shake it. I can't explain what it is. It's just something that is like kind of coming at me. It might be signs. It might be something I see. It might be music coming in that's a memory. But something will put me in sync with that other person. And it's almost like they know, and bam, it's always like 2 weeks and I'll get like a message or a call or a following or friend request on social media, which is, it's really funny. And you just kick back and you go, yep, I was on it. And it's a good feeling. That's the type of stuff right there that when you work with that and you pick up the good vibrations from things and it confirms, that's how you help make it grow. So the more that you trust the signs, the more that you trust the process, and the more that you can pinpoint it or fine tune it to a specific person, and then when the confirmation comes in, it shows your accuracy, that's going to help escalate that guide, that intuition that you work with. Now, I'm going to talk little bit on the flip side, okay, about sometimes the bad stuff, okay? Because everything has a good and a bad. This is what we talk about with this stuff, is how not everything is positive, and we don't want to get caught up in false positives, because sometimes you could just be getting this feeling. You got it in the pit of your stomach. It's making you feel like you're sick. You got a person's name on your mind, or you can feel some types of things going through your body. You're seeing signs, but you just feel sick. Maybe you think something happened to somebody. They had an accident, and then you find out it happened. And that, again, is when we go into this. You nailed it, okay? You nailed it. It wasn't anything about you, per se, but you felt that something was wrong with the person. You can almost feel them reaching out to you, talking to you. They're on your mind. You get some type of nature. Maybe it's an owl or a cardinal, something from spirit, something guiding you just to say something's not right, I need to check in on that person. And you check in, or someone checks into you, and you find out that something really is going on. And that's your chance to step up and just be a really good, solid friend, and just be there for whatever they need. And that would be my way of flipping something that's on like the negative side into a better feel, so that I feel I'm giving back. The intuition, when you trust it, it won't fail you. But what I do caution you is when you feel it and something is telling you that something is off and you don't listen to it. That's when I say, I want you to lean back. You're getting those feelings for a reason, but I'm going to be very clear. Every time you get the feeling that something is wrong, many times we as the recipient put ourselves into the equation. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have a bad feeling about something. Let's just say it's a relationship you're in. And something isn't striking you as right. There's a lot of things that can go and trigger that for you. One of the things might be consistency. Maybe someone's always a certain way with me, and then they just kind of fell. Maybe they're getting rude to you. Maybe they're not being rude to you, but maybe just they're not being kind, or they're not being the person that you think you know. Maybe they're being vague. Maybe they're dismissing your feelings. Whatever you're getting a feeling of, I'm not being valued. I don't feel, there's something off. This isn't how our friendship or relationship is. What's going on? Well, I always try to say, talk to the person first, communicate to see what's really up. Because your senses aren't lying to you. Even if it's only a visual thing, you can catch a movement of a body, like that is moving a certain way, or certain eye contact that can cause this to make you like just feel this sick feeling in the pit of the stomach. Many times it's that all of a sudden they can always look you in the eye and then they can't. Those are the things, different things that can help set that off as well, aside from just the signs that we get. And when that happens, and what I was getting into about the ego is the most important thing to do when you feel that is not react all the time that the situation is about you, because it might not be. I've had situations a long, long time ago when I thought somebody was having it at me because I felt fighting going on, like not physical, but I felt like a lot of banter, because of course I'm psychic, so I can pick up a lot of different things. I wasn't even doing any cards, but I felt like it was going to be about me, with somebody that I was involved with. And later on, I was like, is everything okay? Because I just felt things really, really twisting up. And I was right. I was right that there was something going on, but my own ego made it think it was about me. It had nothing to do with me. It had something to do with a big group of people, all who couldn't agree on something, getting into like at each other's throats about something. And I picked up those vibrations from miles and miles away. And it was in the moment. It was the time it was happening. I was sick about it because there was that much energy going. And we can feel that, especially the more psychic that we are. And if we're working with other psychics, we can feel when the energy just isn't right. So when it isn't right and you're feeling it, the best thing you can do is just try to communicate to the person, find out what's going on. And if they're leaving you kind of hanging, well, you ain't going to go and pull answers out of that anyway. So you just want to kind of lean back and say, you know what, this is about them. This isn't always about me, but I'm on point. I'm on target. And that will help guide you to trusting the negative that can come through an intuition and filtering through, right? So that you're not acting on it. Because I feel that that's what happens a lot is people start to say, hey, something's wrong here. And if you're sensing it, you're feeling it, people can sense when you're trying to put feelers up there. Just like you can feel something's off, they can sense that you're trying to do the same. So I try to be more direct because that way, if all of a sudden you're not giving me an answer, I'm just going to cut it right there. Instead of keeping on pushing. Unless I wanted to grill you, but for the most part, that's not the case. But it's really just knowing when to kind of put that down. And because a lot of times people are dealing with some past things that have happened in their lives that can trigger the same types of intuition to happen because of experience, right? So like you can have this stuff going on in your life, you know how you felt, and you remember what it was in the past that made you feel that way. You got that same feeling, but that other thing might not be the exact thing that's happening. It's just how your intuition is working. And that's why it's so important to say, okay, it's relatable. It's over here. Now I need to filter through this thing so that I can get back to my day and it isn't taking me over. That's the other part about the intuition that can be a little bit distracting. When the message is severe, let's say probably for like say a mother and her child, right? And they have these instincts on something's wrong. I haven't heard from my kid, even if they're an adult, and they just know. We've all heard the stories. They just know something's really, really off, and you hear something terrible happened, right? You can't shut that off, and that's what's happening. Is that people start to kind of go out of who we know, because it's not an emotional thing. It's this thing talking to our body that we kind of can't put out. The part to remember is that we cannot control what has happened. We can't control the other person. We can't control the situation, right? We have to accept it for what it is. But the intuition can guide you towards the truth. And it can also guide you in ways to know when to pull back a little bit. And to know when it's really not about us. But knowing that it's still right, I really think helps us learn how to manage it. It can be fun sometimes, like I was saying in the beginning, when it's the good stuff. And we do a lot of that as the psychics and the tarot and, reading my crystal ball, things like that. We're giving you predictions and having a lot of fun with what we see. At least we'd love to. But, people have goods and bads. We all have goods and bads. And it's always not going to be roses when you're getting a reading. I am not a sugarcoater when I do my readings, so I focus in on the good, and I try to help you handle how to get through the bad. This intuition, when we're in a kind of a harder spot in our lives, is so essential to get us out of that pit. That's how I look at things. It will go and help us transfer our energies back to where they need to be, which is internal, on us. Why? Because our answers to our truth is inside of us, not inside of anybody else. Nobody else is responsible for our happiness except for ourselves. No one is responsible for any of it. And we have to get up each day, feel good about ourselves, and trust that intuition, that gut feeling that we get. I know I don't focus on false positives, but I do count my blessings, and I do make sure that I'm seeing the good things that are going on, even when I'm going through the struggles, right? So when that happens, and you're feeling that stuff go on, pull back a little bit when it comes into a negative feeling on the intuition, on that built-in bullshit detectors going sky high. It doesn't mean that everybody's upset with you. It doesn't mean that everybody's talking smack behind your back, and it doesn't mean that there's a problem. Sometimes when you see someone acting a little different, maybe just your relationship has changed. Maybe just someone isn't feeling the same friendship that you do. And maybe it's just time to go and move it to a different direction. Maybe they're respecting your truth. Maybe it's something you said, right? Either way, try just to focus, shift it back, right? So that you're not focusing all on what's going on. Because you're going to take too much time worrying about everybody else instead of working on the internal stuff, which is going to actually get you to a better space. Because when we're sitting there in this kind of mindset that we're like a flock of seagulls all over the place, right? Where do we get? A continual circle of stuff that doesn't actually progress forward. So as a coach, that's when I'm stepping in saying, focus on those goals, focus on what you want to do, pick that podcast up like I did today and talk to people and, get them thinking, make them feel good, make them trust that intuition and let them love their life because it's just too short, right? So I hope this helped you a little bit with, trying to understand kind of how to manage it. I think that's more where I was going with it for people that are struggling with it. Um, the other things that you can do to help push it open is opening up the third eye, some meditation, some focus. You might get a little bit more opening up with that as well. I was just trying to talk more about the stuff that comes out of left field at us that we don't know why it hits. Because that one, we're not trying to open it. It's just like, bam, there it is. It's that gut. It's that gut. There's so many things it can do to trigger it. I hope this helped. Please reach out if you have any questions. I do have a website up now, and I am Christine Queen of Cups .live. That's Christine Yenny Queen of Cups .life, Life. And I will be adding more things to it. It's just in the early stages, so we got some good things coming. I'll check in soon. Hopefully I won't go as long as I did on this last one. I'm going to try to pick the speed up on this a little bit because I enjoy doing it. And I hope you guys have a great week. And as I always say, I love you. I believe in you. Keep it real.